Alrighty, so as we start our time together today, I'd like you all to sit back and imagine if these were your experiences. I have the blood of the oppressed and the oppressor running through my veins. So what does that make me? They question me every day what my racial makeup is. It is so exhausting. How can I feel a sense of belonging when my own people don't even recognize me? I know my skin color only tells part of the story. It doesn't reflect all of my identities or my loyalties. How do I handle that? Now, what emotions are evoked in you? At different parts of my life, these were my experiences. Experiences as a mixed race woman, a woman navigating her place in this world, trying to find a sense of belonging and acceptance. And as a result, this experience is exactly why I fully dedicated my life to serving the mixed race population as a therapist of over 20 years. I've learned so much from my clients over the years that sense of belonging I spoke about sometimes happens within their own family, the lack of it, because they're not seen, the feeling that they can't talk to their family members about their experience. That sense of belonging trickled out and around throughout all of the conversations as a therapist I've had, and they've taught me so much about themselves and about myself. We know that about 80 to 90% of therapists come into this work because of their own experiences. And I'm so grateful for all that I've learned from them and continue to learn. In the struggles of trying to find a sense of belonging, one's mental health can decline. So let's talk about what mental health is. Mental health is your emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Your mental health dictates how you act, feel, and behave. Your mental health dictates how you make choices on a daily basis, how you interact in your relationships, and how you cope with your day-to-day stressors. As one might imagine, the mixed race person not having the skills to understand who they are, how to talk about it, the language, not having a community that reflects their experiences can leave someone's mental health quite challenged. What I've learned from Maria P.P. Root, clinical psychologist and researcher, she wrote up this thing called the Bill of Rights for mixed race people. So she talks about that mixed race people have the right to identify themselves differently in different situations and in different environments. That mixed race people have the right to identify themselves differently from what a stranger might identify them as. And so as a teenager, I wished that I knew about this Bill of Rights, much less claim my right to be who I was, to say who I was and stand up proud. Instead, it left me feeling torn, shook. Where's my community? Where's my people? I didn't know how to express myself fully, and no one taught me how to do that. And so, looking back, I knew there was one thing that I knew that helped me cope. I didn't know it then. I look back at it now. It was my sport. My sport was soccer. Soccer loved me, and I loved soccer back. It was a mutual relationship. I knew who I was when I was on the field. My uniform told me where my loyalties and identities lied. My position on the field told me my role and my relationality to my teammates. It was never questioned. until one day I got injured and all of that went away. My ability to cope with what I didn't know then was my mental health was gone. Again, I felt without coping, how am I supposed to survive? How am I supposed to live the life I want? How am I supposed to learn to love myself and teach others to love me back? How? Everything's gone. My racial makeup is fraught. My ability to play at the next level, gone. No more soccer. And I entered college in this mental state. I struggled. I tried to find my way. And it was hard. My mental health declined even more. I was depressed, anxious, unsure of who I was. One day, all that changed. I met this woman, this person who saw me fully for who I was. Never questioned me, never questioned where my identities were, never questioned where my commitments were, never questioned my loyalties. She became my second mom, my mom away from home, just what I needed to navigate all the stressors that one has going to college for the first time, much less my mental health, much less my mixed race identity. Sunday night dinners at her house were a regular occurrence. She invited me into her family's church. We had so many fun times. She threw me my 21st birthday party. I went to her kids' football and basketball games, and it was home. I knew it was a refuge. It was a place where I could just be me. The thing about it is, we didn't share the same racial makeup. We don't have the same ancestors. She's African American, and I'm Filipino and white. And I was like, she doesn't have to love me like this. I'm not even her people. She doesn't have to show me this courtesy, this love, her home, share her children with me. She didn't have to do that. It took this one person to open up my heart and for the confidence and the security to learn about myself. But first, I had to learn about this group of people, Black folks. I had to learn about you and what is it about you that could show someone like me love? Did I deserve it? You're given it freely and unconditionally. So I studied. I learned. I studied the history. I studied the culture, the religions, traditions, customs. And my heart was becoming browner than my skin. Because what I value and what I stand for is not reflected by this. Not entirely. And I've learned to come to a place where that's okay. That who I am is fluid, ever flowing and changing based on who I am, based on the people I interact with, based on the environments I'm in. It's always changing. And I had to learn that. I didn't know that. And so I'm in this experience of self-discovery of my own mixed race heritage, learning about my own history alongside the history of Black people in this country. And I feel the most full and the most myself I've ever felt. And I'm grateful. And so I continue on to my career as a therapist, as a social worker. I become a wife, a mother. Then there's my daughter. Got to tell you about her. She's an amazing human. She's an amazing big sister. And she's a high-performing softball player. She struggled at one point in her career, or she still does, because we're all flowing in and out of what we struggle with and don't struggle with perfectionism, lack of belief. She wasn't able to learn how to let go of her mistakes on the field. It stuck with her and then impacted her ability to have fun and perform the way I know she could. As a mom, my heart broke. But as a therapist, I was like, hold up, I think I know how to help her. Like, I know how to use cognitive behavioral techniques with my clients now for over 20 years. I think maybe I can help her. So I taught her some skills around imagery, breath work, positive self-statements, and always telling her, girl, you are more than what you do on the field. You are more than how you perform today. Go out there and have fun and rock it. Okay, Mom, sure. But as I saw her progress, it was very rewarding, and inadvertently, she was helping me get back in touch with the athletic identity I had and the athletic identity I lost, because I had tucked that away. It's too painful. I couldn't bear to look at it. I didn't know how to look at it, but she inspired me to do some important healing there. And I'm grateful. And out of the mouth of babes, they say, right? Like we learn so much from our own children. And so inspired by her, my purpose deepened as a therapist to actually now serve elite athletes at the youth, collegiate, Olympic hopeful, and professional levels. I'm so proud to be a part of the Oakland Roots family, serving the guys there. It's awesome. I learn so much about them all the time, and they teach me about myself. So now I'm a therapist. I learned the sport performance aspect of it. I'm applying that in my work because it's so important for me to see the athlete as a full human, not just who they are on the field of play, but who they are in their relationships, who they are in their lives. And that's so important. What I've learned from working with my elite athletes up to now, the pivot I made a few years ago, inspired by my daughter, is that they're like everybody else. They put 2 feet into their pants just like us. They get up every morning to do their job just like us. But there's a high level of scrutiny that oftentimes they feel overseen and overjudged by the public, by the fans, and underseen for who they are as humans. What does it mean to be them? And so it's so important that the experience I'm connecting with as being a mixed race woman who is of Filipino, Caucasian descent, and has a deep, deep heart place for Black folks, Black people, the African American community, they continue to flow love into me, especially the Sisterhood of Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated, which I am a member of, and sisters are here with me today, loving me up. And I love you back. It's important that I know that I don't have to hide parts of me, that I can claim my chosen family, my chosen people, and they love me back. I'm learning and have learned to be able to love myself fully for all that I am and not make excuses and flow any way I want. And that's what I want my daughter to know. That's what I want all of the athletes that I get to the opportunity and fortune to be able to work with them. And I'm living in my purpose. I get up every day and I'm excited to be in the presence of these wonderful humans. And in that process, I bring everything I've learned about race, about mixed race experience, about the immigration experience. My mom's an immigrant from the Philippines. I bring all of my lived experience and I exist at the intersection of race, mental health, and sport. I live there. I don't just work there. And that experience informs who I am. And I tell this story because I know parts of it everyone here can relate to. On some level, you or someone you know can relate to being defined by what you do, not knowing who you are, not being fully seen for who you are. For all of the young athletes who don't know how to express themselves, who've been told for so many years, just grit it out. Just fight through it. Your emotions don't matter. For all those people who haven't found a voice yet, because for me it only took one person to change my heart. Only takes one. Then after that it can flow. And so I felt that it's my responsibility to share these parts of my stories. I wonder what your responsibility is. After you leave this theater, What's your responsibility? Could it be to have a discussion about mental health with a teammate, a coach, or a family member? Could it be that you take those conversations into athlete spaces? Could it be that you listen to a podcast interview about mental health in sports and share it with someone close to you? Could it be that at your university or college, you would invite a mental health educator to come in and talk to your athletes and coaches about the importance of mental health? Could it be? Could it be that your institutions, universities, colleges, teams, organizations hire Black and brown people to reflect the athletes in your organization? Could it be? Now, as we wind down our time together, I'd like you to imagine someone close to you, someone you respect, someone you admire, saying these words to you. I see you. I know you are more than what I see right here in your experience. I know you are more. Teach me who you are. I respect you. You belong. You have the right to own your place in this world. You are enough. Thank you so much.